All right, I need to explain what's happening here with our independent practice. Below you're given 6 different choices. This is kind of brand new for us. This is something they do often at Cole, so we are taking this from Mr. Hyman to see how it works for us. We will expect to be seeing this going forward for the rest of the year. You are going to choose 4 activities from the table below, not all 6, not 2, not 3, not 5, 4, and you are going to complete them in the section that they are assigned. Make sure you highlight your choices so we can easily skip to those sections. So if I'm looking at we'll read through these, but if I'm choice 1, I'm going to highlight choice 1, that's what I want to do. I want to do choice 3, so on and so forth. So that's how you would do it. Let's go through what the choices are. Whoops. Okay. So you're choosing 4 of these 6. Choice number 1 is to create a detailed timeline of 5 events from the reading that occurred after World War I up until Hitler took full power during World War II, including dates, and I'm going to add, and descriptions. So just putting a little picture there is not going to help it. Choice number 2, pretend you are a Jewish person living in Germany at the start of the Holocaust. This could even be at the start of World War II. Let me just add that in. At the start of World War II or the Holocaust. You're going to write a letter to your American cousins, friends, siblings, what have you, telling them what life is like for you at this time. There's a 6-sentence minimum. Choice 3. You get to argue. Were the German people also responsible for what happened to the Jewish people, or was it all Hitler? So you have to decide, was it all Hitler? Defend it. Was it Hitler and the rest of the German people that were responsible? Defend it. You need 2 pieces of evidence from the text above to support your answer. Choice 4. Create a list of 5 questions that you would choose or that you would choose to ask someone who lived during this time period. Then answer those questions like somebody who lived during the time would answer them. It's not enough to just have the questions. You have to have the questions and the answer. Choice 5. Find 3 pieces of evidence that show how Hitler was able to gain power in Germany. Hindsight is 2020. We now know that Hitler was probably the worst thing that happened to the 20th century. But for the average everyday German, he was their salvation. How could that have been? Choice number 6. You are creating an action plan. Pretend you are the President of the United States. No Trump jokes here. If you could go back in time, what are 5 things you would do to stop Hitler before he did what he did? In the space below, you're going to complete those options. Note that the 2 options you don't choose will be left blank. So you don't have to delete them. You don't have to color them in. You don't have to shade them. You can just leave them blank. So an example of this, if I was to choose choice 1, which was the timeline, I need to pick 5 events that happened after World War I up to when Hitler took full power during World War II. So first, I might say in 1918, World War I ended with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. I didn't just put a date. I didn't just put a description. I did the date and when that happened. 2nd, 4th, etc., etc. So that's choice number 1. Choice 2 is the letter to America. So you would say, dear, and it could be anybody, dear cousin Susie, living in Germany is blah, 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 blah. Also, blah, 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 blah. More so, life for me is blah, 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 blah. So you are filling in at least 6 sentences. So I've given you a starter for 3. You can add 3 extra sentences to that. Love always, and you would sign your name. Choice 3. Choice 3 was the argument. So in my opinion, the German people and Hitler, or only Hitler, were to blame for what happens because. The text supports this claim when it states. So you need to choose evidence to support that. Choice 4. The questions you would ask and the answers you would get. So it might be like questions you would ask. Why were Jewish shops targeted during the night of broken glass? Also known as Kristallnacht. And your answer, you also need to respond here. So you would say, Jewish shops were targeted during the night of broken glass because, and then you would give me an answer. Remember that you are using the words from the question that you asked to answer that question. Go ahead and get rid of that. All right, question number 5, or choice number 5. 3 pieces of evidence that shows how Hitler gained power. So you would just pull that evidence from the text. I'm asking for a copy and paste into this section. Control C, Control V. And last but not least, choice 6. As President of the United States, I would stop Hitler by. You are not going crazy and saying things that don't seem realistic. Like, I'm going to travel back in time and make sure that baby Hitler is never born. You have to think about, as President of the United States at the time, what would you have done to stop Hitler? Once you've done that and your answers are clear, you have completed all 4 of the choices. Go ahead and move on to your mastery check. So the mastery check, you're going to complete the analysis and reasoning part of the paragraph below using the following analysis tool: point of view, bias, intended audience, and author's purpose. I'm going to go through this again in the next video if you need extra support.